right, so let's talk Drake. Drake is back in the news for something that he does very well, sales. But I want to talk about why. So Drake again demonstrated why he's one of music industry's biggest names, recording astonishing 92.4 million streams for his recent release with Party Next Door entitled "Some Sexy Songs for You." Jay Moore loves that title.
Great.
Although Day 2's numbers dropped by 41%, yes, he broke the previous record set by Kendrick Lamar at 92 million, just 100K less, just 2 days prior. But how many of these listens was the Kendrick effect to see if Drake wanted more smoke or not? So my thing is, with this, Jay Moore, you made a very good point in a meeting that we had when you said, why are certain people listening to Drake? And it could be a ulterior motive just to listen to hate. Some people just listen to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is one of the things that is behind the actual spike for what went on with the sales?
I think, first of all, as long as there are girls and little kids out there who want something to kind of move to, and that's not a diss. That's not a diss. That's what honestly moves the needle.
I feel you.
You know, Drake is always going to have a spot in the culture, if you will. He is in that place to where people who want to hate on him properly will listen to him. He's not in that place where there's some people who don't like Drake but listen to everything he does so they can hate from an educated place, if you will. I mean, look, I'll say the same thing about Jay-Z. Jay-Z, there are a lot of people who don't like Jay-Z, but they want to be very specific about why they don't like Jay-Z. So they'll listen to his project thoroughly so they can break it down and tell people why they don't like it. You know, and I think Drake is in that place as well. You know,
especially with this new project, I think.
Yeah. And so I think there are people who are like, okay, is there going to be more smoke? Do we, are we getting round whatever? Because I always listened to Drake's records, especially when I was still in heavy into the club business, because I was like, okay, which one of these are we going to have to run on Friday and Saturday night to see what really works?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, now that I'm not in that business, I didn't have the same sense of, not to the same extent I used to be. I don't have that same sense of urgency about seeing if there was something I could break.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Even though I don't DJ every week, but I'm a working DJ out here.
Exactly.
So, for sure. And then I'm a fan of music. So when I remove personally how I feel about this individual, Drake at the end of the day makes good music.
Facts.
If I want to keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, you're specific. You don't like R&B, so and I'm gonna say something about this being R&B because it's not really an R&B album. Are we gonna talk about this album, or are we just gonna talk about?
I can't talk about the album, and I don't care to talk about the album.
Okay, well, I'll give some points.
I'm more so interested in the idea behind why him breaking the numbers and being close to Kendrick and all that stuff.
Okay.
Personally,
all right.
I have no interest in Drake's art.
Yeah, well, when we talk about numbers, the numbers matters till they don't. So the day that it dropped, it was Drake has taken the top spot. Drake is back. Hurrah. Yay, yay, yay. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. From everybody that loves Drake. And this is me talking from somebody that just I love music. So I gave the Drake album a full listen. I finally got through all 21 songs. And it's funny how that hypeness changed after it dropped 44.1% the following day.
Right.
Then it turns into, it's an R&B album. You know what I'm saying? The bots aren't helping him. It's that type of conversation that bothers me, because at the end of the day, we're still comparing Drake to Kendrick because of what happened last year. There's no way that we can get around that. I think that we're always going to get this comparison between Drake and Kendrick. And regardless,
I don't think we have to acknowledge it, right?
We don't, but we do when we're talking about this particular situation when it comes to numbers. Because if we're talking about numbers, people are now the excuse is, it's an R&B album. Again, like I said, I got to give credit when credit is due. He has some joints on there. It's cool.
I want to meet your madre.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I got a question about that too coming up, but go ahead, bro. Finish.
Yeah, I mean, but what is the new definition of an R&B album if this is what we're talking about?
It's not this.
It's not this. Just because you included Party Next Door, who to me kind of sounds like Ty Dolla $ign, and he makes decent music.
That's fair.
This was an okay release. It's a release we were supposed to get from Drake. to pretty much let you know he really don't want no smoke. This is the album that Kendrick even said I like the Drake that's singing the make the melodies and things of that nature.
Speaking of that, I'm gonna come back to you because that's another question that we had written down is, since you listened to the entire record, I got a chance to listen to it. I'm not going to lie and say I got all the way through it, but I did listen through it, to some of it. Did you find it interesting that there were some contradictions on the record?
Absolutely.
For example, he basically said, I'm cool on the beef. I just want to sing and make party records and sing to the girls. And then there was another record on the project where he actually somewhat alluded to still, I guess, if I want to paraphrase, wanting to smoke.
Well, so
how you feel about that?
I mean, it's typical Drake fashion, man. It's like there's a couple things on here that are typical Drake fashion on this album. That particular situation, so it was the song right before Give Me a Hug.
That's the one I've been seeing a lot.
That he alluded to. This is pretty much him talking to a girl. I don't, the title of that song escapes me, but
yeah.
He's talking to a girl and she's telling him to pretty much be cool, and he's saying, I'm not going to leave the beef alone. And then the following song, which is a really good song, I ain't going to front. When Drake want to talk his shit, he talk his shit.
Yep.
So on Give Me a Hug, he talks his shit, and it's good.
He's officially the Where's My Hug guy.
That's why I was laughing earlier.
We did have that conversation.
Where my hug at?
I mean, academics wants to be his friend, so I mean,
there's correlation there.
Yeah,
he definitely needs
7 degrees of separation, not Kevin Bacon. But it's Drake shit, man. So he says on the same song, she ain't trying to read a dictionary, she trying to twerk type shit. I take that as a shot at Kendrick, because Kendrick is considered the introspective artist that kind of makes people think, and that was obvious with the
Harriet Tubman music.
Yeah. SZA had his back.
Trying to
SZA
free the slaves.
Yeah, and SZA had his back on that one. I don't know if y'all seen that tweet, but
no.
Drake is so funny when it comes to that type shit. He had another song on here is called Brian Steele, and whoever doesn't know who Brian Steele is Young Thug's attorney. So one of Brian Steele's points in this case against Young Thug was that we shouldn't be able to use rap lyrics to incriminate someone, right? You named a whole song Brian Steele in reference to Young Thug's attorney, and you're suing somebody based on lyrics.
Look, man, I don't think it's ever been as prevalent to me as right now in this moment how much I just don't give a about this shit at all. Like, I just don't care about him at all.
Yo, it's like,
but for the sake of conversation, this is important.
I'll add commentary. I'm glad you like that record. Let's get back to that for the record.
That's a whole different record.
I know.
Yeah. I know.
But nah, man, the irony with Terry just said is hilarious. But when I saw the sales for the initial sales, right? And then I go back to looking at while Kendrick's performing at the Super Bowl, the show in Australia where you can, they're doing a lot of the cutaways.
The one with the boots.
He's got the big Chewbacca boots on or whatever you want to call them.
Hey, Chewbacca didn't wear boots.
Oh, sorry. Well, it looked like his legs.
That was his feet.
Y'all knew where I was going. Y'all knew where I was going.
I want the Star Wars people on your head, though.
Yeah, I feel you. I fool with Star Wars. But I say that to say, I'm not shocked because I'm the person that says he's still going to be Drake regardless of this battle. Now, it may not be to the rap portion. You remember, Lone, we were talking about that. But that show was sold out. This album is going to be okay. It's because he's still, the pop side of him is Teflon to me. That's not going to change.
Yeah.
As it relates to rap and then the corny contradictions and stuff like that, that's what's hurting him. It's not about the other side. The other side is going to be happy regardless.
Yeah, we're not really talking about Drake in the hip hop
pantheon
anymore.
Yeah, like
that kind of Kendrick kind of got him out of here.
That part, I think that ship is sailed.
He can still yes, he can rap well when he wants to.
Yeah.
But
he got bars.
But but a lot of people can rap. So
what'd you think about
when you put his CDs on the table? It just you can't talk about them the same way.
It depends on who you're talking to.
This is true, but
that's true.
I've never had one of his CDs on my table.
No, he got some good records, man.
Yeah, he
got a couple albums that's fire. Mixtapes too now. Come on now.
What was the second one? Take Care.
That album got some heat.
Yeah, but I mean,
if you're reading this too late, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna take that away from him. But
Views
I'm
from
just
the
saying,
6 is good.
But then he got some joints where I'm like, I mean, I like a couple songs here and there, but these aren't in heavy rotation.
When we talk about classic material,
that's where you lose.
I can't personally say that Drake has a classic.
rap album,
regardless of his numbers, and the numbers don't reflect personally how good the album is, and that's true to a lot of genres and music and things that have came out. Just because your album sells does not make it classic.
Yeah,
just because you personally like it does not make it classic.
That's true.
Yeah, I think last week I got slammed a little bit because I made a joke of like, Drake is less Michael Jackson and Prince, and he's more Madonna. But that's even kind of disrespectful to Madonna. So I can see that point.
Some Madonna fans showed up.
They sure did. And hey, shouts to them.
That's crazy.
Madonna, a whole legend though.
You can literally whistle or
doesn't matter.
Whisper anybody's name.
It don't matter.
And they will show up.
It's happened to us multiple times, fan bases.
But at the same time, it's like somebody also said Milli Vanilli. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's closer.
Drake is bigger than Milli Vanilli.
I ain't gonna give him. I ain't gonna give him Milli Vanilli long. Come on now, we can't do that.
I think we can disrespect.
Maybe who's somebody else that sold a whole bunch of.
We can't do.
And I hate to even make this comparison because it's like, well, they didn't have the longevity, but they sold.
How about Eddie
Hootie
Murphy?
and the Blowfish?
No.
How about Eddie Murphy?
No.
He had one big hit.
Stop,
one big hit.
Yeah.
Drake. I mean, this is us. This is us being responsible and keeping it a buck. Drake has held this spot for a long time.
Yep.
Regardless of how we feel about his hip hopness, if that's even a word. He's held this spot for a long time. So he moves culture in the way that he moves culture.
Yeah.
Is it the culture that we want to identify with? That's a different story. Is this the new East Coast West Coast beef?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe
if you.
When it comes to music,
I don't know.
It ain't gonna get that deep.
I don't know if it's gonna get that deep.
I think it stops at Drake.
Lone, I have a question for you.
Shout out to Choclair. Shout out to Cardinal Fishaw. All the other Canadians.
Yeah.
Socrates. All the people.
Well played.
Canada.
Well played.
We get it, Jay.
Yeah. I know my Canadian hip hop.
Yeah.
Name another.
I did what I had to do.
Yeah.
Fresh Kills.
Shouts to Fresh Kills and Tona.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tona. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
What'd you think about him rapping in Spanish?
I mean, it was funny.
I mean, that's what he does, though. He likes to jump from culture to culture.
I mean,
he does the island thing.
Here's my thing.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Here's my thing. Like,
give me the angle, the why.
He did exactly what Kendrick said that he does.
He did. He sure did.
I mean,
he sure did.
And I think he did it unironically. Like, I think he just like, you know what?
Or he wants to be the new Bad Bunny.
The worst bunny, as everybody's calling him.
Wow, that's
the worst bunny is actually funny.
Even that's funny, but even that, I'll be like, oh, this is a bit too far.
Is it though? I mean,
if it's
your madre and your padre.
Look, if it's between.
Say que pasa, we can vamos.
Yeah.
What you think about it? Is there anything there?
I think. Look, Drake is exactly who we thought he was.
Yeah,
man.
This is why.
Shout out to Denny Green.
But they are who we thought they were. And we let him off the hook.
I know, for 2 weeks in a row, like, he just is. Like, he didn't change anything up.
No.
This is exactly what he was before.
Yeah.
Yes.
He did exactly the same thing because this is all that he can do.
But this is a smart move.
Does it at a high level.
But this is the smart thing for him to do. Don't come back and try to be a tough guy. Come back and be.
He was trying to be tough on Give Me a Hug. Even though it had the little Aaron Hall "I Miss You" sample in it.
Yeah, but
he was trying to poke his chest out. No, it landed.
No, the toughness didn't land.
No, I mean, because it's Drake, man.
Exactly. The toughness didn't land. The record landed.
The bars.
Yeah, the bars
he
landed.
was doing his thing on there. Regardless of how he condescended and
that's the one I think is going to go.
Dismissed himself, essentially. But yeah, that song goes.
He just needs to go to basketball games and make these records that work for women and children, and just keep it at that.
Jock Jams.
That's it.
And the thing is,
No. Y'all remember Jock Jams?
Not
He ain't gonna make no Jock.
And the
He
thing
needs
is,
to take his own advice.
I mean, if it was
And-
in 1991, maybe he would make a jock jam. He definitely would.
and quite honestly, when I say that, and it sounds like I was being dismissive, but to make those records that hit with women and children, that's not easy.
No,
It's
for
not.
sure.
That is a specific talent that he has, and like,
He should just do it.
yeah, and he should run with that.
It hits with the guys too, because for some reason they think this is an album for them.
Yeah, they think he's the guy that all these guys aspire to be.
And plus, like, you got to understand,
Sexy songs for you guys.
there's a lot of people that
Exactly.
the quote unquote
Stupid.
dudes. They rock with it. Like, this is not Kendrick is not a guy that they can even relate to. You know what I'm saying? They can try the guy who's always trying to cake off for women. Like that's somebody that Drake is, and that's who a lot of dudes can relate to. They can't relate to what Kendrick is talking about and all this street stuff and reading books.
It's like,
why are you so serious? Why are you always talking about something
Drake,
real?
There's something we're going to talk about later, but Drake is like the embodiment of like trying to be nonchalant because you think that it's cool to be nonchalant.
Yeah.
And Kendrick's like, no, I'm going to actually try because it's actually, I don't care what it looks like. Trying matters. And that's really kind of what it comes down to. People that care more about looking cool as opposed to just like doing cool stuff. That's just all it is. Drake just wants to look cool.
Hey, listen, I'm telling y'all, he's going to be just fine.
He's fine.
No, he's just fine.
Just fine.
And I mean, we've said that when it came down to is he done? No, he's not done.
Nowhere near done.
Because he crossed over into the other threshold. This rap battle was a rap battle. That's why he wants to go back to getting the party lit. Because that's where he shines.
I guarantee you this though, the next record that he drops that's his, it's still going to be this, but there's going to be a couple of joints where he's going to poke his chest out.
Well, this was essentially a Drake album featuring Party Next Door. I know they sold it as it was a joint album, but Drake carried a majority of this album.
Drake, you keep doing what you're doing right here. Maybe next year you can perform at halftime of the Grey Cup.
Wow.
I heard he might possibly have a soccer situation going on.
Okay,
well,
see,
good.
there you go.
Yeah,
they don't have a halftime, but he can do something.
Well, they're doing something for the World Cup or something or another.
Maybe that's why he's got the Madre and Padre song.
Hey, that's some pandering ass shit.
Yeah.
If they don't get Bad Bunny,
they can have Bad Bunny and the Worst Bunny all collectively on the same bill, man.
Yo, the Worst Bunny is hilarious. I'm sorry. That's brilliant. Whoever came up with that.
I laughed really hard when I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't even see that one. I need to see whoever said that. Kendrick and Drake, as an artist, they're in totally different leagues, man.
And that's fine. That's how it should. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Know your role.